In this video, we're gonna use the logic of the 2-bucket wash method to completely replace that method with a better method of washing with a foam cannon. Now let's get straight into it. What's going on, and welcome back to the Wilson Auto Detailing community. If you're a car enthusiast or a professional auto detailer who wants to improve your detailing ability, then definitely consider subscribing. So before we get into actually washing this car in this video, I have to go into context a little bit to help you guys understand what I mean by replacing the 2-bucket wash method. Many of you guys in the Wilson Auto Detailing community know that I am not a fan of the 2-bucket wash method. Basically, the argument that I'm making in this video is that using a foam cannon to wash a car is actually, according to the logic that the 2-bucket wash method implies, this is actually an even safer way to get the job done while minimizing scratching at an even greater level. So let me explain. The 2-bucket wash method says that if you take your wash mitt from your soapy solution to the paint on the car and then to a clean, just water-filled bucket with a grit guard underneath, rub it against the grit guard, wash it around in the water, you're washing those dirty minerals, dirt, grease, grime that you got on the wash mitt from the paint off into that solution, so that when you go to dip it back in your clean soap solution, it's not going to be quite as dirty, and therefore you're going to minimize scratching because you washed some of those loose debris off of the wash mitt, rather than just dunking your wash mitt directly back into your soapy solution from the paint itself. While in some cases that might minimize scratching, and I'm actually going to be doing some experimenting to test that theory, the beauty of the advancement of the technologies in the auto detailing industry are things like foam cannons, because the logic of the foam cannon is that you can actually spray clean, soapy chemical solution onto the paint, and it's actually never been touched by dirt before. So in other words, when I dip my wash mitt from the paint into my second clean bucket and then back into my soapy solution, eventually, as I continue to do this process, my soapy solution in my first bucket will get dirty. There's just no way around it. It's going to get dirty to a degree. But if I hook up a foam cannon and I rinse the paint off first, and then I spray a panel with my foam cannon, then take my wash mitt and put it on the panel to agitate in the soapy solution that was sprayed on by the foam cannon, and then I do that process again and again, rinsing after each panel. Every single time that I spray the foam cannon onto the paint, it's a new, fresh, soapy solution. It's never been touched by a wash mitt before. So according to the logic of the 2-bucket wash method, trying to minimize scratching by keeping your soap bucket clean and washing your wash mitt off in between, times that you're agitating the soap, would it not be even more effective to use a foam cannon in place of the 2-bucket method, so that every time you apply soap to the paint, it's a new, fresh coat of soap that has never been touched by a dirty wash mitt? Well, let's check it out. Now, number one, the foam cannon that I'm using for this video is by a company called McKillen's. I'll hook up a link to this specific foam cannon in the YouTube description box below. The second product I'm going to be using, other than just the water, is a product from the wax shop. It's called the Cherry Snow Foam. This is a specific car wash that goes, you can actually use it just in a regular 2-bucket wash method if you like, but you can also put it into a foam cannon. So I filled up the water to about the 700 milliliter mark. And now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and put around between like 3 to 5 ounces of this soap solution into the water itself. So now again, basically all I'm gonna do is rinse the entire car off first before I do anything, and then panel by panel, one by one, I'm going to spray the solution onto the paint, let it sit for just a second, agitate it very lightly with my wash mitt, and then spray off that soap, fill up a bucket full of water where I can just rinse my mitt off, and then do that again. Again, what this is doing is keeping my soapy solution totally free from any sort of like contaminants from the mitt throughout the entire washing process. So rather than me dipping this back into a soapy solution and then again back onto the paint, every time I'm putting soap onto the paint, it's totally clean. It's never been touched by anything. So this is what this looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and speed it up a little bit, and you guys can check it out. So now that I've got this side of the car foamed up, number one, I can do a couple things. I can actually do what the foam cannon is more or less designed to do. I can just go ahead and let it sit, then rinse it off, and then do my strategy. Or in this case, I'm just gonna go ahead and implement this strategy just because this is my own car. I'm not too worried about the pre-washing step in this case because I am polishing after this. I want you guys to see how thick these kind of suds are. Number one, it speaks to the foam cannon, and number two, it speaks to the foam cannon soap by the Wax Shop, and of course the foam cannon is by McKillen's. And again, I'm gonna hook up links to everything underneath this video because this is probably, honestly, the best kind of combination of soap and foam cannon I've ever used. You guys can see how the suds are running off below this car doing what they're supposed to do. But again, just to explain the logic here, now I can take my wash mitt and I can agitate the soap on the paint and then wash it off. And when I go to the other side to apply the soap and agitate it with my wash mitt, the soap I'm applying has not ever been touched by a wash mitt that was dirty. So again, every single time I'm soaping a piece, agitating it, and then rinsing it off, the soap I'm applying has never been in a sort of, you know, dirty soapy bucket where I'm dipping my wash mitt back into like you would do with the 2-bucket wash method. Even though with the 2-bucket wash method, you're rinsing your mitt before you put it back into the solution, you're still carrying a certain percentage of that dirt back into that solution. So it's impossible to do what you're doing here in that you're getting a completely clean, uncontaminated, soapy solution on the panel to work in every single time. And so according to the logic of minimizing scratching by making sure your soap is clean and your wash mitt is washed off, this seems to me to make a lot more logical sense than putting 2 buckets out and then washing your mitt, dipping it back into that solution and doing that over and over again, because again, by the end, the soapy solution is going to be fairly dirty and you're not getting that in this case. So what I'm doing here is I've got my kind of waterlogged wash mitt right here, and I'm just going to be gently moving that soap around. I'm not putting a bunch of pressure. I'm just very, very gently kind of working it in. I'm not going to touch the bottom rocker panels. I'm just gonna do kind of the surface, the top of the paint, because the dirt down here, I don't want to carry it up here at any point. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the hood. And again, I'm just kind of letting the weight of the mitt itself pull those suds off, and then obviously pull the dirt off as well. Now after I've done a few panels, what I want to do is dip it back into my clean water solution and wash the mitt off. Again, I'm trying to get rid of as many of the kind of dirt contaminants off of this wash mitt as I can. So I'm just rinsing it off, I'm rubbing it against the grit guard, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply it again to the rest of the paint here. So we'll go ahead and check out this side in particular again. I know I keep repeating myself, but what I did here was apply soap to wash the car with a regular wash mitt, kind of like you would do in the traditional way, but rather than applying it from dunking my wash mitt into a soapy solution that would eventually get dirty, even if I were using the 2-bucket wash method, I applied the soap through using a foam cannon so that every time the soap touched the paint, every time I was agitating soap on the paint, it was fresh soap. There was nothing in it because it came out of the foam cannon. So I'm going to give you guys just a few different angles here of this side. I can let you see the front too. But basically the idea here is, if we're using the logic of trying to minimize scratching, why would I use a 2-bucket wash method when I could use a foam cannon and 1 bucket to wash my mitt off? And then when the foam gets applied again, the soap again is just totally uncontaminated, totally clean, and nothing on it. Now only time would tell if I did this over and over again to really see how much scratching it produced and how much it didn't. But again, just based on kind of like a logical deduction, if I'm trying to minimize scratching, then how could this not be more effective than the 2-bucket wash method itself? Because again, my soap is clean every single time. So here's a full view of the car right now. It looks fantastic. The soap did a fantastic job. Again, that was the Wax Shop brand Cherry Snow Foam, and then the foam cannon I used was from McKillen's. So in the Wilson Auto Detailing community, I'm constantly trying to experiment and figure out ways and kind of use use the logic that other detailers use in the detailing community, not necessarily to find shortcuts or to find like loopholes or find why things don't work, but with the 2-bucket wash method in particular, it's interesting to me how many detailers kind of hold so fast to it when there are other ways to minimize scratching like this that logically seem like they would do what they want with the 2-bucket wash method, but even more so and arguably even quicker, because I'm not having to continually dip my mitt into 2 different buckets and then apply it, and then 2 different buckets and then apply it. I'm literally just applying the soap kind of in one fell swoop with this foam cannon, and then I can wash my mitt off in this bucket with my clean water. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, hook up all that stuff in the YouTube comments below, because I always read those and I'm sure to get back to you guys as fast as I can. And if you want to check out any of the tools or products used in this video from McKillen's or from the wax shop, I'm going to hook up all that stuff, including the bucket and the wash mitt and the grit guard I used, in the YouTube description box below this video. Definitely use those links. Some of those links will take you to Amazon.com, and if you use those, it does give this channel a very small commission, but it helps this channel stay alive so I can keep giving out awesome content just like this all the time. If you are new to the Wilson Auto Detailing community and you are a professional auto detailer or just a car enthusiast, then definitely consider subscribing, because I come out with videos just like this all the time. Thank you guys so much for being involved and watching, and as always, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I'll see you guys in the next video.